Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video today is a bit of an informal feature-length discussion about what I do. I did ask on my Instagram stories if people wanted to submit any questions. There wasn't that many around like how I'm able to do what I do or how do I do it, revenue streams. I'm quite passionate about it because it is what I do. This isn't meant to come across this video as like a blueprint. It's not meant to come across as yay, like everything is perfect and like this is the life you should chase to when you're riding your bike, and it's not about that at all. It's just sharing the journey I've been on. So okay, so the question of this video: how do I make a living from cycling? Or at least that's what it boils down to. Being a cyclist, being a cycling influencer, vlogger, whatever you want to call it. But this is just part of it. So we're going to deep dive into that with this very informal chat. I've got some notes in front of me. Love my notes. And let's get into it. So first off, let's give you a little bit of backstory. So I know there's lots of newcomers to this channel. There might be even new people watching this video. I rode professionally in the UK for a team called Raverack Kondo GLT. It went through different names, but GLT Kondo, Raverack Kondo GLT. We traveled the world, we did bike races, we did 1 week races, and we competed in the biggest races in the UK as well. Then the whole cycling infrastructure in the UK kind of had a bit of a brain fart moment, and I decided to step back from that scene last year and pursue like a career in, well, kind of being a little bit more self-sufficient. Somebody used that word on Instagram, self-sufficient or self-funded, and I really like that term because that is kind of what I do in a sense. So that's the backstory. So I see myself first and foremost as a cyclist, and then I see myself as someone who is very good at expressing through one-to-one communication with people in the real world, maybe not online, but certainly in the real world, how to enjoy cycling. Simple as that really, whether it's getting faster or just enjoying it more, whatever enjoying it more means to you. So one question that I had on Instagram was like, do you need a background? And you certainly don't need a background in cycling. If you enjoy cycling and you ride your bike, that obviously helps, but you can always create content if we're talking about YouTube, for example, or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it may be. You can always express yourself and your personality and what you can bring to the table on these platforms. There really is no stopping it. The key thing is to tell a story or be creative or both. I'm much better at telling a story or living a journey and sharing it, and I guess that's the whole point of this YouTube channel. Embrace when I took this step away from being on teams and being represented by a team and a management and everything else was I had to take ownership of myself. I am a brand, but I don't see myself as what you might think I look like. I see myself as just the average cyclist who's sharing a cycling journey, and just because I may come across as, or from the outside, look like somebody who's really, really high and like elite and up there. It's complete BS, because really, I'm the exact opposite. I ride with friends. We do 12-mile-an-hour bike rides. We have a chat. We have a coffee and a cake at the cafe. And when game mode is on, game mode is on. So for me, everything feeds off everything I do on the bike, everything I do cycling wise, everything feeds off. So like my cycling, the fun that I have or we have, you know, Anthony, Charlie, like whoever we're riding with, the journey, and then the performance. So I always say that, like, to a certain extent, cycling is what keeps me at the center, like that is the core. That's what keeps me grounded. And then around that is other things like YouTube, the fun, the journey, performance, the coaching or the mentorships. It all feeds into this one thing. So when it comes to sponsors and I guess revenue streams, the sponsorship, it can happen in a few ways really. It can happen in product, it can happen in a wage, or both. To be completely honest, I raced professionally in the UK for very, very little money, including prize money. Was probably around between 5. So I started coaching, doing a lot of mentorships, mainly locally with local cyclists and groups of cyclists. And then when I was able to kind of go solo last year, that all kind of expanded. But since leaving that scene and putting more time and effort into the coaching and the mentorship, I've actually managed to cultivate and grow in many different areas, not just that. Even though that area is my largest source of income, there's lots that feeds into that. So how I see it is, me being an elite performer, you know, and being able to produce power numbers, fresh and fatigued, and back-to-back days of riding and everything else, I'm setting a standard that other people, some people, aspire to. They come to me for coaching, we work one-to-one, and we get there. Eventually, patience, it takes time, but you get there. Other people then, they just want to be taken on a journey, and they want that helping hand in order to improve in their cycling. And they don't have to have coaching. They can just watch the videos and learn and get enough from that. Hopefully you have as well. So that in a way feeds into the content that I produce. So I can keep giving content to help you have fun on your bike and get faster. Revenue, monthly revenue from ads and things, they can fluctuate quite a lot. It's why you see some YouTubers, you know, go down the route of sponsorships and things like that from not just, you know, video sponsors like Squarespace or something, but you also get like channel sponsors. So maybe a bike brand would sponsor the channel, you know, equipment can sponsor the channel, things like that. But you might get stuff to use, you know, equipment, but you also might get a wage. Okay, so let's talk specifics then, because I am supported by a number of brands, also supported by some organizations as well, who get sponsored obviously by equipment or a wage or money towards something, like a project, for example, if you have a video idea, or you could be sent places and the brands pay for it and stuff like that. Let's use some examples, okay? So real world examples of how this could work that have happened to me. So Band of Climbers, who support me with a little bit of leisure wear, but mainly my cycling kit, they sent, or they paid for me to go to the Tour de Stations and do the Ultrafondo last year in Switzerland. I had to pay for my travel to get out there, which wasn't that bad, but they paid for my entry fee and the food and the hotel accommodation, everything. Other examples are obviously I get a bike, I get some support in terms of the equipment, wear and tear and things like that on that bike. I guess when you do start to get a bit of momentum with these things, you can approach events and things like that and ask for your own discount code, which you can then share with your own people. There might be an affiliate link with that or something. You know, just thinking off the top of my head, but there's certain things like a wheel builder that I've worked with called Chinnlad Wheels. He's made me numerous pairs of wheels, since I do go through wheels quite a bit where I live. He's made me wheels, and in turn I just give him a shout out every now and then, like right now. So there's lots of like giving and taking. It's never something like really set in stone. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there are contracts set up with most things, but some of it is actually based on, you know, quite a healthy, good relationship. YouTube, maybe monthly I get about £200 a month from YouTube, from ad revenue. That fluctuates, you know, every month. It's never the same. The other thing that fluctuates as well is the back pedal training programs that myself and Scott Huish have set up for the back pedal cycling community, which has grown really off the back of the success of our channels and stuff, but really about the friendship and the community that has been produced during like the live streams and stuff that I've done. So what we have in that community is people who have lots of common goals in cycling, and that's a little corner of the internet that you never really see. It's the Discord channel where, you know, you have this niche, which is my channel. It is kind of niche, but then that is just like extra niche, and there's lots of training discussions and help and FAQs and everything, and just chit chat. If you don't get supported, you know, through pennies, through money from these brands, you need to find ways to do that. You can collaborate. You can do lots of stuff with brands that can, for example, do merchandise. So if you're wondering, like, when did I feel like that point was when I felt like I could monetize, or when I felt like I could reach out to brands and try and get what I wanted to fulfill my athletic potential. Last year, when I took the giant leap, I had about 6,000 subscribers, I think it was, 6,000 or 7,000. And in the last 12 months, my subscriber base on YouTube has grown from 6,000 to almost 12,000. But it took maybe 3 or 4 years to just get those first 6,000. And much of the growth has been very much organic. There's been 1 or 2 shout outs from some notable people on YouTube, notable cyclists, which I'm very, very grateful for. But really speaking, the growth has been kind of fairly steady and organic. So what you should never have in your head is that the subscriber number determines how much you can demand, or how much you can give or take. For me, I always hold myself quite high. It's probably the athlete in me, really, who always sees myself as the high performer, and always giving that 110%. So, you know, when I see myself on 12,000 subscribers, 11.5, 12,000, you know, that won't stop me from going to big brands or, you know, big events and things like that and saying, you know, would you? But also, in the same respect, it doesn't stop me from turning up to my local club 10 mile time trial on a Thursday night and just having a chat and racing around a local 10 mile circuit. That's the key, I think. I can't recommend enough how working with brands that you form as then friends, you know, people who work there as friends, if you can create a relationship with them that's very, very much like a friendly relationship, it can really, really help. It just makes things easier to talk through, makes, you know, the next move a lot easier. If, you know, for argument's sake, you're disappointed with something and you want to express your, you know, your humble opinion on it, you can have that word without feeling like, you know, you have to hold something back. And with many of these brands, it's about not seeing them as brands. It's about seeing them as human beings who are kind of almost doing the same thing that you're doing, but on a far greater scale. The final word I want to say on this, and it's kind of gone off script a little bit, but you know, what was the turning point for me? The turning point for me was the pandemic, okay, the global pandemic. And I realized that there's more to cycling than being in this traditional location. You can still be involved in it, but you can also do other things, and you can be free to do other things if you work with the right people or the right community, and it's extremely, extremely rewarding. Okay, I cannot emphasize how rewarding it can be. But also, I want to say that you should always start small. When you're looking at brands and you're producing content and you see your subscribers going up slowly, or on Instagram you see these people only getting millions of views, on TikTok you get millions of views. You always need to think big, but start small. You start small. You work your way up, you build these relationships with these brands. It almost adds to your portfolio, and your CV, and you can go on to big. If you think you deserve bigger things, you can go on to bigger things. You can reach bigger people, newer people. But these people you're working with, at the end of the day, you don't just treat them as brands. You treat them as friends, and you treat the whole process as a journey, and everybody's on that journey where you're all trying to achieve the same thing, you know, and the message you're trying to get across matches. And, you know, whether it be using sustainable materials to make a bike helmet, or, you know, recycling your inner tubes at your local bike shop, or anything, you know, it can be big or small, and show it off. Like, we all have one of these, a really, really good camera on the back. A lot of you are doing, you know, Instagram stories anyway, you're doing selfies anyway. You're already halfway there, more than halfway there. So it's not so much a leap of faith you're taking, because there's always going to be somebody who will watch it. There's always going to be somebody. Just share your story, get creative, and have fun with it, and things will happen from there.